Home buyers and owners get a lending boost from potential rental units on their properties. If you haven't heard, you are not alone. These are brand new guidelines from the FHA. You can essentially say you make more money than you actually do when applying for a mortgage nowadays if the property that you are purchasing can have an ADU. An ADU is an additional dwelling unit, and to build one, it could be a little costly, around $100,000 to $250,000. But it gets interesting because some basements can be considered ADUs, some garages can be considered ADUs, some extra living spaces in the properties out here in the United States can be considered ADUs. So the question that I have is, what is considered an ADU in the state of New Jersey, where we are right now? I know in California, in Florida, and some other states, ADUs are perfectly legal and encouraged, and you can get them approved and documented with the local municipality. Here in New Jersey, I have never heard of an ADU, so we will see what the guidelines are going forwards. This is just loose guidelines right now. The new guidelines say that lenders can count 75% of estimated rental income from accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. The new provision also allows 50% of the estimated rental income for a to-be-built ADU to qualify for a mortgage. This is pretty cool. This means that if you make $100,000 a year, you can say you make $118,000 a year if you can get a ADU that rents out for $1,500 a month. It essentially lets you inflate your income so that your DTI, your debt to income ratio, will be lower, and the lender will be able to qualify you for a bigger, more expensive house. Take that how you will. You can think that's amazing, or you could think that's the worst thing ever. There's going to be people for the rest of the time on both sides of that coin. Now, what does the FHA define an AD unit as? It's a unit that has a separate entrance and meets all requirements for habitation. That's the vague part right there. Meets all requirements for habitation. Who sets these requirements? It's typically a state or a local municipality, which to me means that ADUs aren't legal everywhere. Even if you have basements in New Jersey that are a full unit, clearly an additional unit on the property, they're called grandfathered in, and they're not listed as an ADU. It's just that the town inspector isn't going to make you remove the gas line to the gas oven downstairs in the basement. The aim of the new rules is to help ease the national housing shortage crisis by creating more supply through private owners. That's vague. That's a stretch. It also seeks to help buyers and existing homeowners create more housing equity by providing financing for ADUs. So this makes sense to me. If you could have rental income on a property, the house is going to be worth more money. Therefore, if you already own it and you build one of these, your equity is going to go up. And if you're buying one with the intention to build it, you can buy a house for a certain value, build the ADU, and the house potentially can be worth more than the purchase price plus the cost to build the ADU, meaning that you're going to have forced equity on top of that. Again, it's a stretch. These are very hopeful comments by the FHA in introducing this new policy. Will help households of more modest means. The policy contributes to the supply of affordable housing in many neighborhoods. While this is true, most of the people, in my opinion, who will be taking advantage of this are the quick sharks. They see these new guidelines. They're going to be out here buying. They're already buying properties now, and they're going to use these guidelines to buy even more properties. This creates a sense of urgency for those needing affordable housing. If you want to take advantage of this program, early adopters will get rewarded. This program will definitely saturate. And once it does, once all the ADUs are bought up and all the new market equity and values are set, this program is going to have only done one thing in the end. It's going to have introduced a ton of ADUs, making congestion in already congested areas even more of a problem. And it's also going to increase the values of everything. Once again, we will have an affordability crisis. Everything will be too expensive once this program is out for long enough. So this is a short-term band-aid on the housing shortage problem, which we're seeing right here. Could ADU ease the housing shortage? It can put a band-aid on it, but you cannot fix the problem with this new little policy that lets you count the ADU income towards your income. They're not changing the world with this. However, they are introducing opportunity for those who are quick and ready to go on this new policy. Like I said, early adopters will get rewarded. You will be able to get properties with ADUs for less money now than they will be in a year from now, when everybody's like, oh yeah, this program's been out for a while and I heard that people are using it and they're very successful. You'll hear the success stories, and when you go to look at it, it's going to be very diluted, inflated, and hard to take advantage of. Let's see what they say. For many Americans, an affordable home is harder than ever to come by. This is true. ADUs, small rental units that can be added to existing properties and to ease housing shortages, are the forefront of these efforts. From an affordability perspective, ADUs are an attractive reform option because these units can rent for hundreds of dollars less than apartments in the same neighborhood. Can they? That's a serious question of mine. Can they? And if they do rent for less, why is that? Is it because they don't have a washer dryer in them? Is it because they don't come with parking? Because I think these ADUs will comp out to other units in the neighborhood. And if they're nice, they're going to be more expensive to live in than other units in the neighborhood. So I don't believe this statement by Emily Hamilton of George Mason University. This statement is brash and it doesn't make any sense to me. ADUs are on the rise. Nearly 1.4 million units throughout the nation were identified by Freddie Mac in 2019. I do remember about 5 years ago when I heard that California is just letting any single family residence lot build an ADU on it, that I was like, wow, that's the coolest thing ever. I wish they had that by me. I still wish they had that by me. And I understand that a couple more states have introduced the, yeah, go for it, build an ADU policy. And 1.4 million units were identified as ADUs in 2019. That's a lot of units. It's good. California, Florida, Texas, and Georgia account for half of the 1.4 million ADUs identified by Freddie Mac. That's concerning now, because now we have this whole program, and it's a nationwide program. So everybody in the nation gets very excited that they can use the ADU income as their own before they even purchase the property. But now we see that 700,000 of the 1.4 million in existence are in 3 states. You have 47 states filled with people reading about this that can't take advantage of it. I do feel like New Jersey is one of those states that will not be able to take advantage of it. I don't know where in New Jersey you can build ADUs, but it is not something I have ever heard of in Bergen County, which consists of 70 towns, and I've never heard of an ADU. I do know about a lot of grandfathered single-family properties, and even 2-family and 3-family and 4-family properties that have extra units in them that don't count as units. If they don't count as units, can they count as an ADU? That's my question to the lenders. Who decides this? Is it something that has to be in the deed or registered with the town, or did the bank just set an appraiser out to look at it and say, yeah, that's an ADU? That looks like an ADU to me. Who decides whether or not an ADU is an ADU, right? Land is in short supply, and building new neighborhoods is a long and challenging process. So they're essentially saying that all the best neighborhoods are so expensive and there is no land in the best neighborhoods. That's something I've been saying on this channel for quite a while. There is no space to build in Bergen County. Most of the existing inventory here is early 1900s inventory. The new stuff is great. Typically, they knock down something old to build something new. So land is in short supply, and building new neighborhoods is a long and challenging process, especially when there's no place to even do it. So I understand why they want to let people introduce ADUs. The thing about North Jersey is we have a big traffic problem already. So if you just start letting all of these single family homes have ADUs, it's going to double the amount of cars on the road. And I think that's the biggest restricting factor that will not let something like this fly in New Jersey. Housing shortages stink because the areas that have infrastructure that was built 100 years ago are the areas that have the biggest housing shortage, because the infrastructure was built to deal with the amount of people that there were 100 years ago, which is extremely less than it is today. So our area right here in New Jersey is completely crowded, and there will be a housing shortage here for as long as New York City is a hot spot and making people a ton of money, because there's no more land. It's just simple as that. So I like the idea of the ADUs, but I don't think that the lawmakers are going to let it fly around here in North Jersey. Before we wrap it up, let's get into an example of what this means for you if you're interested in taking advantage of this program. Someone who has a $100,000 income and a $4,000 mortgage payment that includes principal, taxes, interest, and insurance, $100 in monthly minimum credit card payments, and an auto loan of $600 a month. So if you're making $100,000 and your payment's going to be $4,000 all in for the house, Your debt to income ratio is 56%. This means that a mortgage provider will not qualify you for the property if your debt to income falls at 56%. But let's say that that $4,000 monthly real estate payment is going towards a property with an ADU that can earn $1,500 a month in income, which means your yearly income will now be $118,000. That's 1,500 times 12 plus 100,000. Now your debt to income ratio is 48%, and the lender can qualify you for the purchase of the property with the additional dwelling unit. Let me know if this helped you guys at all. I'm super curious what you guys think about these new policies. I think they're great. I just wish that we had ADUs widely available in New Jersey. My name is Tyler Sellers. I'm a real estate professional here in Fort Lee, New Jersey, Bergen County, New Jersey. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support, and I hope you have a great day. Keep saving.